Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and it's time for another prepper talk. And yes, safety check this. Yes, I bought another Glock today. I bought a Glock. I know, guys are gonna be like, Jason, weren't you just saying last year you were thinking about going over to Smith & Wesson, that this foreign European company didn't understand the market anymore? They're the way they screwed the pooch on the Gen 5s, and you were thinking about going to Smith & Wesson and going all American made, make America great again. Yeah, I did say that. I said that. But you know, I just keep going back to Glocks. I can't help myself. I can't help myself. You can't break them. And so why would I buy this? Well, I bought a 45 ACP and a full-size handgun because I have a small penis, right? That's the only obvious reason to buy this. No, this is not a carry gun. This is not going to be an EDC weapon. This is a prepper gun for me. This is a prepper gun. And I wasn't even intending to buy it. Now, I had said before I was very seriously considering going over to something like 45 as a prepper round. Why? The versatility of it. The fact that if you get stuck with hard ball ammo out of a 45 isn't actually a terrible man stopper. I mean, let's be realistic here. If you had to fall back to your plinking ammo, whether it's hard cast lead, and yeah, it's very easy to do 45 in hard cast lead or soft cast lead. Now, some people say, if the Glock barrel won't take that. Well, that's a subject of debate. And aftermarket barrels aren't exactly that expensive, are they? You get them for $100. Put a different barrel in it. But if you get stuck with FMJ, hard cast lead, or plated bullets, and you don't have your best amazing hollow points, and that could happen in a raw scenario, you have to fall back to whatever you got left. 45 is a real good choice at that point. Again, if you're having to use ball ammo, would you rather be using a 9mm or 45? 45 is going to make a bigger hole in it. It's going to penetrate someone. This is going to go through most people. So you're going to poke a 45 caliber hole all the way through. Again, life and death scenario in a total full-on Mad Max post-apocalyptic setting. Which is, the way a lot of people fantasize this in their prepper fantasies. But, let's be realistic. If it comes to that, you're dead. You're dead. You're going to die. If it gets that bad, you're going to die. There's 50-50 chance you're going to die in every single firefight you get in. You're not going to be low enough on ammo to fall back to your ball ammo. But all of that being said, truth be told, I didn't intend to buy this. I didn't intend to buy it. But I did. And I bought it as a prepper gun. I went to just look at the gun store. It's a place where I get a discount at for a reason. I get a discount there. I get 10% off. And I wasn't going to buy anything. I was just looking. And I was looking at 45s in Glock. And I wanted to just test the feel of the different frames, because I hadn't messed with the slim frames, and I don't always like the full size. And I wanted to look at the 21SF, and I wanted to look at the 30S, right? And the guy working there says, well, the Gen 4 is already the smaller frame. It's actually smaller than the old Gen 3. You want to check one out? And that's where I messed up. I picked it up, and when I got it in my hand, and I reached up, and I felt it. And I get a discount. I get 10% off. I couldn't help myself. I bought it. You guys know how that goes. I bought it. But seriously, even the joking about that aside, because that is kind of how it happened. I wasn't actually intending to buy this gun. But I did, because I realized, look, this is a very versatile prepper round. Yes, I will eventually consider taking most of my handgun stuff over to 45. This is, again, not a carry piece. This is too big to carry. This is not a carry gun. It's a good vehicle defense gun. It's a good home defense gun. It's a good raw scenario gun, which is basically what I'm looking at it for. This gives me a lot of versatility. Again, the 45 is a very versatile round. When you start looking at inexpensive aftermarket barrels, right, you put a good barrel in this. You can shoot 45 super. You can shoot hard cast lead. And 45 will handle just about any pistol gunpowder. 45 ACP is a very, very, very forgiving cartridge when it comes to powder selection. I mean, I'm looking right now at my shelf. I've got 4 different pistol powders on my shelf right now. 4 different pistol powders on my shelf between 9mm and 10mm sitting there. Every single one of them I can load safely to a variety of pressure levels in a 45. If that's what I have just sitting there for 2 other calibers that I'm looking at from here, that every one of them will actually make acceptable loads for this. It will handle at least 30 different gunpowders. There is published safe data. Again, as long as you have cartridges and large pistol primers, large pistol primers, as long as you stockpile on that, you're good. You have a wide variety of powders available. All right, you have a wide variety of powders available. Hell, I mean, worst case, let's say you have to fall back to your 45 and you have to take a bunch of NATO ammo. Now, I mean, you get a bunch of NATO ball rounds and you happen to have a bullet puller like I do. Guess what? I now have access to power pistol. I have load data for power pistol for 45. So there we go. There we go. Actually makes fairly hot rounds max pressure loads. Pretty high velocity loads can be made from power pistol for the 45. So, kind of my point is you have access to a wide variety of power. It's a very versatile cartridge. It's a very forgiving cartridge in terms of load data. Again, it's very easy to double charge, granted, but it's very forgiving in terms of load data, powder selection, everything else, and still retaining good accuracy, good velocity. There's an amazing amount of bullets available for a variety of uses that you can get pretty inexpensive at this point. But the fact of the matter is this platform in particular being, again, a full-size round, if I was forced to fall back to this in any sort of long-term survival situation, my primary weapon malfunctions, my rifle malfunctions in some way, and I'm forced to use this. This is a pretty good sized barrel with a long sight radius on a 45. 13 round mags. There are worse things to fall back to. This is an absolutely suitable backup sidearm for any scenario. And that's assuming worst case with ammo. What happens when you put an aftermarket barrel on it? You can go to 45 Super. You can go to 10mm. Right? You go to 10mm. Well, if I've got a 10mm barrel on here, it means I can also use 40 S&W in it. This is a very versatile system. And even in its factory configuration, if I don't do anything to it, again, this is a very, very solid choice for a backup sidearm. And I wouldn't feel outgunned with this as a home defense weapon. If someone kicks in my door and there's a bump in the night and I can't get to one of my rifles, I would be totally fine with a Glock 21. Again, odds are anyone kicking in my door at night, I probably have them outgunned. Right? I probably have more firepower, more energy, heavier weapon, easier to control, long sight radius. I have them outgunned most of the time. I think what most people are going to have who burglarize your home. So again, this is an absolutely fantastic weapon for that. So it was a good purchase, and I had to factor all of that stuff in my head while I was holding it in my hand when I decided to buy it. Now, am I probably going to need more of these? Yeah, if I want to have a proper system, if I want to build maybe some ARs, if I want to go over to eventually all 45, this kind of gives me a starting point to do so, right? Because I've considered doing that. You figure between some Glock 21s like this, some smaller everyday carry, and then maybe even for close quarters, you can build very cheap 45 ACP AR-15s to take Glock mags, can't you? And that's kind of another selling point for Glock. So why did I grab this instead of a Smith & Wesson? Because I do like those new Smith & Wesson. And they're making them an FDE too. They're sharp looking. Those M&P 2.0s, they've got some sharp looking ones in FDE, Cerakoted. They're nice. But the same magazines from this will fit in even their smaller subcompacts. The 30S will take the same mags. I can put the same mags in an AR. Build right now, you can build for about $800-900. You can actually build pretty good ARs. Now we have a very quiet close quarters carbine. It's still a very effective 150-yard rifle. Let's take the same magazines, right? This gives you a whole platform for a weapon system, for a very versatile weapon system. I think as far as a prepper gun goes, This is fantastic, and I'm not saying like the Glock 19 isn't, because you guys know I have a couple of Glock 19s. I think the Glock 19 is a fantastic prepper weapon. But, again, if we want a serious, very serious sidearm for raw scenario, for home defense, either one of those, I mean, for a duty weapon for someone who open carries, I mean, for a police officer, someone who's open carry, I'm not a big fan of open carry, you guys know that. For average citizen, I think it should be legal. Let me state that clearly. I don't have a legal issue with it. I just don't think tactically it's the best situation to be in. Because again, if you're in a real life situation, an active shooter sees you wearing a big Glock 21 on your side, what's he going to do? He's going to shoot you first. So that's my situation with it. That's why I'm not a fan of it. I kind of believe in the philosophy of keeping it in your pants in public, unless absolutely necessary. But again, as a home defense weapon, as a backup sidearm for raw, as a backup sidearm for hunting, perfect choice. Perfect. Very happy with the purchase. And if that's what you want a handgun for, I don't think you could go wrong with this one. I don't think you can go wrong with this one. Of course, I'll have to get some range time in before I give it an official review. But yeah, I didn't plan on buying this today. I was there. I saw it, I held it, all of that went through my head, and I've been thinking about 45 for a couple months again of, weighing out, do I want to go mess with some 40 S&W or 45? And the 45 makes more sense to me. It makes more sense to me overall. And again, having a full-size handgun in 45 instead of a compact really makes a lot of sense to me. Not that there's anything wrong with compacts for EDC, but like I said, for those other scenarios, I think this is the right choice. Alright guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.